coming at you with Season 5, Episode 10. That's a little bit of a curveball for you, Josh. What episode?
60.
That's it. For you who don't know, this is the last game of this season in which we review Super Nintendo games. Obviously, we do not get to choose the ones that we want. We roll a big randomizer wheel, and that determines which game that we play. And then we rank them against each other. Coming up at the end of the season, we're going to take these 10 games that we did in Season 5 and dump them in and rank them against the other 50 we've already played. This week, Josh, we got Operation Thunderbolt. No, Operation Thunderbolt is what we got. I had never heard of this game, Josh. Had you?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Well, you want me to read the back of the box and get you kick-started into this thing?
It better be...
There's a lot of damn words on this one, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, it better be intense, because it should be intense.
That's how many...
Oh, dear Jesus.
All right, here we go. It's the terrorists' turn to be afraid. Very afraid. That's pretty 90s shit right there.
That's very 90s.
Trans-global flight number 520 has been hijacked. The passengers have been relocated to the terrorist headquarters. Oh, sorry. If the terrorist demands have not been met in 24 hours, they will begin killing the innocent hostages. Your mission is to parachute into enemy territory, locate and release the hostages, and sanction the terrorists. There is no room for error or mercy. You are armed with the latest anti-terrorist weaponry, rapid-fire assault guns, and rocket launchers with armor-piercing shells. Shoot crates that are dropped from passing support planes for extra ammo. Make it to the designated rendezvous point and gather needed intelligence regarding the next phase of the operation. Above all, see to it that the hostages make it safely home, though you'll have to blast your way through an inferno to get there. So, here's the features. 2-player simultaneous action, never slows down. Compatible with the Super Scope, the Super Nintendo controller, and the Super NES mouse. Choose from 6 battle-hardened veterans, each with special skills and abilities for handling terrorists. Fire at ammo lost by enemies to add to your own arsenal. From the arcade sensation that was a national favorite. And detailed graphics and awesome sound effects keep you coming back for more intense play. Does that make you ready to run through a wall?
Yeah, why not? Run through a wall like the Kool-Aid Man. Oh, yeah!
I've actually just thought as I was reading that of a break that I'm putting into this. So, this was published and developed by Taito. We've played Taito games. The last game I think it was that we played that Taito did was the Jetsons.
Okay.
Now, one thing I didn't know with Taito, which I guess is probably not real surprising. I should probably know, but I'm not a huge arcade cabinet guy. I mean, they're fun to play, but they're fun. Yeah, they're fun. We were very limited. I mean, I think like there was a Pizza Hut in Sweetwater we never went to. It had like 2 arcades. I think the Walmart, this is for the super centers, I think had like a Neo Geo, like a Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
And then there was like one in the mall, but like we didn't arcade scene in the mid to late 80s, early 90s wasn't really something in rural Tennessee that you really got grips with. But they did. Taito made several arcade cabinets. I guess that's where they really started. They did all the way up to games probably today. I don't know. So, can you guess this? Do you even want to take an attempt at guessing the consoles that this was released on? I don't know that you're going to get any of them, really. Like the
Amiga?
No. Wait, yep. Yeah, Amiga.
MC-DOS?
I don't have it listed, but I would imagine. It's not in here, but...
and then... let's see here. Commodore?
Yeah, Commodore 64. I'm going to give that one to you.
Okay. Sega.
No.
Atari.
Well, and see, there's a little bit more to that. The Atari ST, which I think is a little bit more than just your normal Atari.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the later Ataris I've seen.
If you made me pick a Atari console, I was going to say the Atari Jag.
No, I actually played some Atari Jag yesterday, though. And of course, you had the arcade cabinet. That's the given. And I think the arcade was in 88, maybe released in 87. Don't quote me on that, but it's late 80s there.
Okay.
So the Armstrad CPC 464, the Armstrad, I'm saying Armstrad, it's Amstrad CPC 464, Amstrad GX 4000. I have no idea what them are.
Yeah.
If them are like motherboards for like a arcade cabinet, I'm guessing they're computers. Super Nintendo, I guess, to me is what the most recent console release was. So this is kind of a dated game. And I felt that there's probably a need to put this in here, even though it wasn't really released for the system. But Taito had a Legends disc, which I probably actually own it, to be honest, because I do know I have several of the Taito compilation discs. Yeah. And they had a disc that came out on Windows, PS2, and Xbox that also had Operation Thunderbolt on it.
Okay.
So even though it wasn't designated for release for PlayStation 2 or Xbox, it trickled in there. Kind of like how I think Sunset Riders made it on like a couple of compilation ones, as if I remember right.
That hidden gem.
Oh, God. Before we go any farther, I forgot the most important news for you in the start of this is it's just playing Super Nintendo games, Josh. I may have found a game.
That's a hidden gem?
Worse than the Untouchables.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of it, but I'll know it the moment we draw it, and I'm going to laugh my ass off because it is horrible. It is horrible, Josh. I ain't saying it is, but I bet we will have to play the Untouchables when we get this game to see which one is worse. Bad.
Okay.
Yes. It may be the only shot of the Untouchables not coming in last.
Okay.
So even though the arcade, I think, was in 87 or 88, the Super Nintendo release was in 94. I guess they refer to it as a light gun shooter, like with light guns.
Yeah.
I consider it a gallery shooter, whether it is a true gallery shooter or not. That's kind of exactly the way I felt.
Yeah.
The arcade did have 2 mounted light guns. So, I may have played this game at some point and not known it. I didn't know that I played Sunset Riders until Stampede.
Yeah,
you know, and I'm like, I remember this. Couldn't tell you nothing else about it. But the one cool thing too you say about it is you can play with your controller, your Super Scope, or your mouse.
Yeah.
And even though we didn't play it 2-player, I would imagine if one person uses the Super Scope, the second player can probably still play with the controller.
Yeah.
I think that's all the details there. Man, looking at all the developers, the composers, man, it was a ton of people on this, like in some way, shape, or fashion. It's like, I can't get down the rabbit hole of trying to.
So a lot of good people.
Maybe
good people.
Yeah, maybe good. I didn't do a whole lot of research on them because most of the time you got like one developer, one producer, like maybe a couple composers, or maybe sometimes it's 2 people listed as a producer. Dude, it was, I don't know if I got the paper down here. It was like 6 people, it seemed like, on every damn list there.
Really?
So, but the arcade was very successful. Very successful.
Yeah.
So, this is going to kind of be the plot of the game. So,
yeah.
From me gonna butcher this, so basically it's a commercial flight's what it looks like, flies into a no-fly zone into enemy territory, something to that sort.
Yeah.
And then this is the part that weirds me out. So these jets basically fly up on them in the startup and says, hey, you got to do something. We're going to shoot you down, right?
Yep.
Probably a bad spot to be in.
A very bad spot to be in.
But then in the middle of it, then they get hijacked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you flying in no-fly and then the hijackers come out?
Just bad timing for the hijackers.
So it was just two. Yeah, the pilot got lost, and then you got hijackers trying to fuck you up.
Yeah.
So then
just bad.
Hijackers take over the plane. I feel like, in my opinion, I don't know that there's any reason for this. I feel like they land on a private island. I think they just land in a country. I feel like it's a private island.
It looks like a private island.
Yeah.
It looks like Elon Musk's Hard Island.
I don't know about that, but so they land into they land in the jungle or in the island or the country, and
the Amazon,
then basically they do the classic as you would expect. I forget the guy's name because it's not really important in the grand scheme of it, but you have, I guess, the head of this radical nation commenting to. Like with TV cameras or VHS tape or whatever it was back in the day. And it says, hey, we got these hostages, send us some money, release some of our POWs, something to that sort, or we're going to kill all the hostages type deal. So then they send in
the big guns.
I didn't know that they were necessarily Green Berets. I guess that's what they were calling them, as Green Berets. So, kind of actually... I don't know. I mean, it's actually pretty plausible. I found it very strange that you're in a no-fly zone and then you just happen to get hijacked. On top of that, I could see why you would get hijacked and then go into one of those areas. But shit, what do I know?
Little to nothing.
Well, you didn't have to say it that way, asshole. All right, so. We got a little bit going on, Josh. We got our make it's, we got our break it's, fun facts, reviews, speed runs, price charting. We got a little bit of everything. So let's jump on over into the make it for Operation Thunderbolt.
Boy, let me tell you about this huge list.
Hey, I'm gonna say one thing. So I do have the startup in the break it and make it, but they kind of put a pretty good story together. After you let the cutscene start.
They did.
And I mean, it, with some of the, we play damn Soccer Kid or damn
Kid Cleat,
where you got damn alien dropping plungers and picking up fucking trophies. Okay, well, this one seems more plausible.
Yeah, this does seem plausible.
You get fucking hijacked and then you get kidnapped.
Yep.
Okay. Hopefully nobody's ever had that done to them. But
Captain Phillips did.
I know one person who got kidnapped by accident and their car got stolen. Actually, a listener to the show. When he was a kid, they were chill out in the back seat or something, and their fucking car got stolen, and they were in it, him and his sisters. Basically, makes a long story short, dude turned around and was like, "Oh shit!" and then fucking ditched the car because he didn't want to steal the car with the kids in it.
That's funny.
Got a couple blocks away.
That's funny. I mean, Captain Phillips did.
Yeah.
Dude came up to him and went, hey.
I'm the captain now. So, but also on top of the story, the graphics in the startup was actually pretty good.
Not bad, yeah.
I guess what you would call their cutscene.
Yep.
Looked pretty spot on for Super Nintendo. So I was kind of impressed. I ain't gonna put it in the break it. Even to the point where when they talk, the mouths just move. They don't match nothing. It's just mouth moving.
It looks like the Canadians from South Park.
Oh, Terrence and Phillip.
Yeah, whenever they just open.
Yeah. I got in here too. The controls weren't too bad to figure out. Mine was a little weird starting the startup screen. It might have been my emulator because I was like, so it comes up and it gives you start screen and then like the select or your options. And I think I was having to hit start where like to fire the shot into the start or options where you would think A or B would do the trick.
Yeah, you technically had to hit start to start.
So, and I think this is kind of like probably the arcade roots, I would imagine, even though I can't remember ever playing this game, that the light gun probably had 2 buttons. It was probably fucking fire and like your grenade.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that A and B on mine, I think you could change your controller mapping, but A and B was just your normal gun, and your X and Y was your grenade.
Yep.
I'm
gonna say that sounds about right, honestly.
I applaud the Super Scope and mouse compatibility. I don't know that it really helps this game, but it kind of blows your mind that, you know, even like with some of the multi-taps and stuff, like how many games have we played that's, you know, 2 players that was a port of a 4-player game, and it's like, there is a freaking multi-tap. Why did you not use this?
Yeah, why didn't you use the multi-tap?
I feel like the Super Scope, I don't know how many Super Scope games there was, but it's like the Super Scope came out and it had like its sampler bundle game, and then you got 10-star, and it was like it just fell off the damn face of the earth. I did not play this with my Super Scope because I don't own a copy of this game. So if I did, I would have probably fired up the old Super Scope, assembled it out of the box there. And it's kind of cool, the mouse compatibility, but I didn't play with the mouse, obviously, but I'm not going to put it in the bracket, but it kind of looked like, damn, I can't remember what the game was that we played. I think it might have been Untouchables, where it was still on like that. It looked like it was on that square-based grid, it wasn't like fluid. It kind of made it look like it's weird.
It was jagged.
Yeah, and that's the way it looked. That's the way it felt when I was using the controller. But I'm not going to put that in bracket because I did not play it with that mouse.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. I played on my emulator. Which is my PC.
Right. Was it jagged on there?
Fuck no, dude. It was fucking fluid.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. On my PC, the mouse worked. But I did not, like, knowing what this game was, I tried to play it on my phone as well, on that emulator.
I bet that's probably pretty rough.
It was very rough because that one is a true... Well, I mean, it's not a true emulator, but the PC I can modify however I want. My phone, I just downloaded the emulator, played it on there, and it was very jagged, so it was bad. But if I played it on my PC, it pretty much turned it into the arcade itself.
Okay.
Which was kind of cool, but I still had to hit on my keyboards. A and S was AB. You know, it was WASD, pretty much is what I had it set up as the directional pad. Mm-hmm. If I wanted to use a D-pad, so I've done that. E and F was my action buttons, which is primarily A and B. And then the other ones are right up above it. And besides that, my L and R is... No, I messed up. My bad. So WASD is my directional pad. Arrow keys are my buttons, and then shift and control are my bumpers. And then besides that, start select is, of course, escape and delete.
Okay. You did have 5 or 6 characters you could choose from.
You did.
Not a big deal for me, not in this game.
It was okay. I mean, they gave you variety, which was kind of cool.
There's options, and I'm sure you probably have the same in the arcade. I don't know. Okay, you know.
That's it. All right.
I didn't.
I'm gonna pick the dude who looks the coolest.
Yeah, I don't know that. God, what was his name? I forget who the fuck I picked, and I laughed about it because of his damn name. God, it's gonna bother me. Fuck.
Comanche? No. Give me a second. I'll start looking it up.
There was something that I was mildly entertained about the name.
Let's see here.
And
Operation Thunderbolt characters. Aha! Shuki, Abraham, Ben David.
Don't know that.
Those are not. These are the fictional characters in it.
Okay, stop. You're getting into my fun facts. Put it down.
Okay.
I forget the name, but one of them was just a goofy name that nobody else, even now, are entertained by. But me and you would be, but I can't remember it, to be honest. But the game didn't grab me enough to make me want to play as all the characters. I played as like 3 of them, and it was just to say I did. So a couple of maybe. I mean, you did have 2-player. That's kind of cool. I don't know of games that you have, and I probably don't know maybe any. Of course, if I did proper research, I could probably told you. But how many Super Scope games had an option, that you would be 2 players essentially? Now, obviously, the Super Nintendo did not support 2 Super Scopes to be able to be.
I was about to say,
I don't know why you wouldn't be able to use one Super Scope and a mouse, or a Super Scope and a controller. And it very well may be the only game. I've only got one more thing for Make It, Josh. Is there anything you want to add?
I'm not gonna lie. The startup screen, like I said, the full whole story mode that you got.
Yes, sir.
Music was okay during that.
Yeah.
It wasn't. No, music while you're playing the game, that's moving on into the Break It side.
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave that one to you when we get into Break It.
But yeah,
I really didn't mind it. I didn't notice it. So I was like, I kind of made a point not to pay attention to it. And this is probably the last Make It I have, is after coming off a couple games that have been pretty damn difficult. I mean, I didn't beat this game either, but I didn't beat this game because it wasn't, I put it in here, it's not necessarily hard. I feel like as long as you just keep playing it, you probably get a little bit better. Like, probably because of the aspect of the arcade, you feeding it quarters,
Yeah,
so
it's a quarter grabber.
So I feel like that you could play this game and enjoy it and get pretty far sucking, because I know I sucked at this game.
Yeah,
and I mean, I was in there like level 4 or 5, and I'm like, man, if I really wanted to apply myself, I could beat this game. I just don't care enough about it,
Yep.
That was kind of where I was with it.
Maybe younger, maybe at an arcade.
I could see this being a rental game that you would say wasn't great, but especially if it being 2-player, if you spend the night at somebody's house and you rented it, and you'd be like, oh man, this game kind of sucks a little bit, but we got to like the 4th stage. There's only 6 stages. I feel like you could power through it.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And probably beat the game. So I think for what it is, it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't have anything left on my heart.
I think it should be. It's an arcade cabinet. That should have stayed an arcade cabinet for what it is because of the quarter grabber.
All right.
And then my thing is, like I said, that music. Startup screen, it was intense. It was good. It had good sound effects, good music. But rolling into the game itself.
Before we get into that, when you brought up startup screen, I started laughing because as soon as it came on, and it's like a Thunderbolt or whatever, or a thunder and lightning sound effect, it goes, Operation Thunderbolt, which the voice sounded great for a Super Nintendo game. But I was like, please tell me that this is not the fucking startup screen. Because I was like, you're not even trying. And then after like I was sitting there topping, and I was already putting the startup screen's bullshit.
Yeah.
Then the story mode kicked in. I'm like, thank God, because the first part of that was bad.
It was bad.
So, go ahead.
But yeah, like I said, the story, it doesn't, I mean, okay, it's not grabbing you, but like you said, they're flying over no-fly zone. They get hijacked at the same time. Just bad luck all around for those guys. But the entire time, the sound effects, the music, and everything is pretty on point. It's pretty good. And then you start playing the game, and then I started paying attention to the sound effects to it. Dude, it was standard. Yeah. Grunt 1, grunt 2, grunt 3.
Well,
sound effects. And I get why. I do.
Well, and 2, you're going to talk about the sound effects, and some of that's probably pretty repetitive. Insert any level, I guess the one thing I did forget to mention on here is not only are you battling against people and shooting them, you're also going against a bunch of helicopters,
airplanes,
boats,
yeah,
and all of it. Like, so in the Man, it's starting to come back to me. I'm having PTSD. I'm having post-traumatic from this game. So
You're having Vietnam flashbacks.
However, the level is staged because the first I actually played in the area. I just went from bottom to top, which was actually like playing mission 1, mission 3, mission 2.
Yeah.
Of course, you could pick that however you wanted to do it. But in mission 1, it was kind of like you were driving down a road, maybe like you were in the back of a truck.
Like the back of a truck, like Jurassic Park scene, just not as cool.
And then the third one I played was the one where you're actually in the water and the jets are flying low.
Yeah.
And then you're like, it's almost like you're just standing there and everything's blowing by, even though I guess you're on a boat. And then that third stage, which was mission 2, is where you're freeing the hostages, and it's kind of side-scrolling. So
then there was also that stage where you're like walking through town, I guess.
I guess that's what it is. But if you look at the way in each stage the enemies move in those stages, kind of go on point with the repetitiveness of the sound effects and stuff, because they did move pretty ridiculous.
Janky.
Yeah,
they moved janky.
Sometimes it made it feel like they were doing one of the MC Hammer dances where they're just going back and forth. I'll go ahead and tell you, this is going to be... starting out, too, I did not like this. I'm going to put the heads-up display in here, too, but when you started out, it had the red and blue crosshairs there as if I had two controllers plugged in. Yeah. I did not, and I didn't like having that there. Yeah. And the heads-up display was pretty much bullshit. I had to purposely force myself to look down to see how many bullets there was and stuff. It wasn't noticeable. Yeah. So in my opinion, when you've got the display that's telling you the information that you probably need to know to complete your mission, and you can't really notice it, music, if you don't notice it like I didn't, then I don't mind it. Yeah. But something I feel like is pertinent to the game, and I can't notice it, then you didn't do it right. Yeah. Like, I think that has to be noticed in a positive way.
Or it's just so bad that it's just there.
Yeah. And this one, it was just like, sometimes I'm just like, what the hell's happening here?
Yeah.
This is going to be the big monkey in the room for me, is they're running out of bullets with some bullshit in here.
It was.
There's a lot of bullshit that I'm going to call on this game. So, man, you're just blasting these motherfuckers, man. And I guess the whole premise, and this goes into a damn slippery slope of bullshit. So you shoot the enemies, and I guess what it's trying to portray is when you shoot the enemy, then they drop their ammo, kind of like I would imagine like some of the modern Wolfenstein games, where you're picking up a few shots here and there, but it's like a
GTA
clip,
and stuff like that.
So you shoot an enemy and a clip falls out of them. I don't know. There was a lot of them, so I'd say one out of every couple of enemies, a clip would fall out, and you're supposed
one out of every 5,
and you're supposed to shoot this clip to gain more ammo.
Yep.
And then you've got crates dropping from the air that you shoot, and you can get clips and shit from there. But did you run out of bullets any, Josh?
No, not that.
I ran out of bullets quite a bit because I'm just fucking killing them all and let God sort them out. When you hit down to 0 bullets, you are done. And then after like a second, you get 1 bullet back. And after 2 seconds, you get another bullet. It's like a second or half a second.
Okay.
So you're sitting here with the screen full of fucking enemies, and they're just shooting. They are fucking dick whipping you, son.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, well, I can't really shoot this enemy. I got to try to find a fucking clip. And of course, the clips were flying all the way. The clips weren't exactly, in certain stages, were easier to shoot than others.
Yeah.
The one that it really, and I have an issue with mission 2, where you're releasing the hostages.
Those folks get in the way.
Yes, there's many hostages lost their life on that island or whatever. I'm just going to say that. And I didn't even really feel that bad for it. But, once you ran out of bullets, you were pretty well fucked. Because trying to hit one of those damn clips. So they also, they throw, and this was weird, and I get it, that just like most of these arcade shooters, which I am going to give it props. One thing that would have absolutely killed this game, and thank God in this port it did not have it, is thank God you don't have to point off the screen to shoot to reload.
Yeah.
I'd rather deal with that, but doing that on the Super Nintendo setup would have been, it would have sucked.
Yeah.
Maybe hitting a button. I think Lethal Enforcers, you can hit like X and reload. But, so, you got shit that flies around the screen that you can shoot for power-ups, right? Well, fuck. I guess one of them was I don't know if it was ammo or what, but it looked like a damn like one of the little Indiana Jones satchels come flying across the screen.
Yeah.
And you could shoot it, or there'd be a grenade flying across. Dude, them motherfuckers were whizzing when they went by there.
They were quick.
Like, if you did not know they were coming, you weren't shooting that motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you that.
And sometimes you wasted more bullets trying to get your ammo than what your ammo was worth.
Let me tell you about this bullshit. This is when I'm like, yep, I'm done with this game. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it an honest run here. And I'm just fucking weighing lace. I get out there to that damn level 2, which I'm playing it as third level. And, I'm fucking smoking hostages by accident. I'm just struggling, fighting through there. And then, all of a sudden, my game fucking ends because I see myself getting hit from a rooftop. And there's this motherfucker on this rooftop. And I'm up there trying to shoot him. And my hitbox isn't working on him. And I swear to God, I can see like that much of his leg. You can't even see the top part of the motherfucker.
Yeah, you just
and I'm like, yeah, fuck this game. Fuck this. Like, that guy kills me.
Yep.
I can't even hardly see the dude.
Yep. Okay. Like I said, my whole thing is with the full setup with it is me fighting the enemies. Like I said, on the mouse, using the mouse itself, it reverted back to almost, I guess, an arcade, which was kind of interesting, kind of fun that way. But I could see playing this with a D-pad how it would be extremely aggravating to try and hit those fine moments.
Oh yeah, with the D-pad, I can tell you you're getting hit.
Yeah.
And I don't even know as many enemies as... I will say they could put quite a few enemies on a screen in this. Even with the super scope, man, that'd be such a pain in the ass. Like, I was normally holding the button down, and I don't know if you hold this... I feel like if you was doing the super scope, you're probably constantly pushing the button. You'd wear a goddamn blister on your hand and pulling that trigger. I mean, there was just so many fucking enemies.
With a mouse, it was a constant click, 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 click. It was constant moving back and forth.
See, and that's probably why I ran out of damn ammo, because I'm just like... I'm just holding the button down, just waiting. Okay, now this is, to me, and this is part of the design of the game, is I couldn't really tell what the fuck was happening at any time in the game.
No.
It was just like, fight for your life, go.
People show up, shoot them.
Slapped you in the ass and pushed you in the damn jungle.
Yep.
And some of the shit was so goofy. Them fucking airplanes, I don't know the proper way to kill the airplanes on that boat ride stage. I mean, you could kill them, but I was taking damage because they were shooting like missiles. Are you supposed to shoot the missiles first and leave the airplane alone? I don't fucking know.
I don't either.
But
I tried to do everything.
So I don't really know what's happening in any point of this game, really, to be honest. Thank God they gave you a pretty decent story to start with, because it was kind of a mess. I've only got one more thing, Josh. I'll leave this as my dying
on the mountain
breath here, and not really point it too much at this game because it was really successful. I got some info in here that'll probably give you the idea why they would release it. And I am kind of a sucker for, like, I love the Lethal Enforcer games. I loved them when they were in the arcade. That was like the first arcade-like game.
Yeah.
The Area 51 game when it came out. So I do have a soft spot for these. And Super Nintendo was the first one that I ever played that had some of these games. I think, I don't know if it was Sega. I know there was a light gun for one of these games. I think there was an Area 51 port maybe on a Sega. But at the end of the day...
I remember playing Virtual Cop.
Yeah, Virtual Cop. It might have actually been a Sega CD or Sega Saturn.
Yeah, on my Sega Saturn. So, I can't remember if I had the gun or not, though, or a light gun, or...
For me, this game, my final break is it's like, sometimes a game doesn't need a port, you just need to let it die. And I think that's where I stand on this game.
Should have stayed as an arcade cabinet.
So, do you have anything left?
No, that was my last break. It should have stayed in an arcade cabinet.
All right. Well,
that would have been so much better.
I've got we've aired our grievances. I've got our speed runs, our fun facts. All right, let's just jump into fun fact and our reviews. Actually, let's do our reviews.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so there was 2 reviews that I had that was actually kind of solely on the Super Nintendo version. Of course, this game, apparently they want to jack it off as far as what the arcades was. And I would imagine that this game on like an Atari ST, I would imagine after watching that startup screen that it would have been great on Super Nintendo. But, I think you're kind of limited a little bit by your hardware.
Yeah.
So, I think one of these was probably a purchased review. And one is Game Pro and one's Next Generation, so you're going to know the purchased one is Game Pro.
Yeah.
Game Pro gave this out of 20 a 16.
No.
Game Pro said it had colorful and detailed graphics and strong sound effects, but said it had repetitive gameplay and slowness of the aiming reticle, which is true in both of those, but concluded that it was still a success.
It's still a success because it was a port. It was so much more of a success as an arcade cabinet.
Next Generation gave it out of 5 stars 2.
Okay.
Which sounds fair,
yeah.
you know. I don't know if they're going by the... I don't know if they're saying that there's a 0.5 system in here, but if you're giving it rounded to stars, I'd say 2 is probably accurate.
Yeah.
Maybe a 1.5, maybe a 2.5 if you like it that much. I think that's a little bit of a push, but Next Generation just called it another shooting gallery game. And that's kind of where I stand at.
That's exactly what it was, yeah. That's what it was.
So instead of like an action shooter like that, like something that I would imagine a game like this was probably like, this is like Rambo top deal.
Yeah.
It just became like a lame shooting gallery,
yep.
you know. I'm trying to think about like how bad the shooting was, because that one stage in the Untouchables was like a shooting gallery, but it was way worse than this. And I was actually trying to pinpoint what made it way worse.
You had 2 bullets and then you had to reload?
Well, maybe. So here's the fun facts.
Because that was whenever you used a double barrel shotgun.
This was actually a sequel to a game. It was a sequel to Operation Wolf, which was an arcade cabinet too. I think it was an arcade cabinet that had the 2 machine guns on it. Also, NES game, I'm almost positive that I've got. Or that it is an NES game. This as an arcade. So it must have been in 97, because maybe not. It was one of the top 3 cabinets in Japan and North America in 1988.
Okay.
So
Operation Wolf was.
Yes. No, I'm sorry. Operation Thunderbolt.
Operation Thunderbolt.
So I don't know if it came out in 88 and got ranked up there. I feel like you probably had to be out in 87 to do it.
Yeah.
I don't really fucking care, to be honest. So not to get anybody triggered about a fucking 40-year-old game or whatever, you know. Especially not a hidden gem per se.
Hidden gem, buddy.
So here's the one when you about the fun fact you about ruined. Is this game is loosely based off a real raid that happened on July 4th, 1976. And I think when you were reading the names off that didn't seem familiar is because there's actually a film by the same name that came out in like the late 70s.
Okay.
That is maybe early 80s, don't quote me on that. But it kind of makes me want to go watch this movie, but I went to IDMB and kind of pulled up some screenshots. It looked like it was really dated.
Yeah.
So, and the game is too, so fair enough.
Yeah.
But I don't know, some of them early 80 action movies, and, you know, they got some slapping
some slap and tickle.
Yes, some slap and tickle, some good fight scenes. So
Yeah.
I don't know, I am vaguely
intrigued.
I feel like the movie's probably, well, you know, we're a fucking video game podcast that will also review the movie.
Yeah, we are.
So I kind of feel like we owe it a fair shake.
We ought to watch it.
We ought to watch it and have a bonus episode of Operation Thunderbolt.
Let's see if it goes along with
yes.
it. We'll come back with a part 2.
To be continued.
Yeah.
So that was the fun facts of it. So I think when you were pulling it up, you were pulling up the actual cast from the movie.
I may have.
All right. So this is on Super. I'll take that back. They have the speed run broke down into 4.
Okay.
Now they've got this for arcade, Amiga, Atari ST, and Super Nintendo. They don't have it designated by which system you play, so these must just be direct ports.
Okay.
So you can play any of them you want, and you have any percent completing it 1 player.
Okay.
Actually, no, I take that back. They got any percent 1 player for Super Nintendo, any percent 2 player Super Nintendo, any percent for the arcade 1 player, and any percent for the arcade 2 players.
Okay.
So there does look. Actually, I gotta pull this up because I don't know what that flag is. I feel like that's Quebec, but we're gonna find out how dumb my ass is if this is not the Quebec flag. So there was only 2 speedruns been turned in. One on the arcade. Ironically, as weird as this is, only one on the Super Nintendo.
Okay.
So we could team up and do this.
Just knock it out.
Yes. And there is, so it's the 1-player one on the SNES version, but on the arcade version, nobody's did it 1-player. They've only did it with 2-player.
Cool. Okay.
Which is kind of weird.
That's interesting.
I am absolutely right. This is fucking Quebec. So 4 years ago on the Super Nintendo, the only speedrun turned in for the Super Nintendo, officially according to speedrun.com, was 4 years ago by a Quebecian. Is that how you say it?
They're all Canadian.
A Quebekistan.
Yeah, they're all Canadians.
Nolinto. Nolinto. Nolinto.
Okay.
Do you want to take a guess at how quick he...
13 minutes.
Pretty fucking close.
Okay. I've gone with the full thing that's an arcade cabinet, so it's supposed to be quick, supposed to be a quarter grabber, so...
Nolinto completed it as the sole person in 15 minutes and 25 seconds. Okay. Which the game does move pretty quick.
Yeah.
One thing, it probably not in the make it or break it, just kind of the weirdity of the game is when you're just sitting there blasting these fools and all of a sudden everything just stops and then you roll up to a fucking building.
Yeah.
And then there's like a hesitation when you get to the building. It's like, oh shit, here's a boss fight, motherfucker. And then it's like, oh, next level. Then you got like that, I forgot, we didn't even mention the little harlot looking lady that...
Oh, yeah.
The rendezvous. Yeah. You know, I'm like... Looking like you're trying to get fucked, you know. You dress like that, you know. You're either a mage or you're role playing something, you know, lady. Maybe that's in the movie too.
I don't know.
Damn well better be, you know. Okay, so 2 people completed the arcade. Ironically, I don't know how this happens. So, they played an arcade emulator.
Oh.
Because one of the folks are from Maryland and one is from Hawaii. Okay. I'm like, I would imagine that they both would be from the same spot, but they're playing emulation.
So they leaked up over...
Either that or, you know, who knows? Maybe they just said, hey, let's set a speed run on Operation Thunderbolt. Let's fly halfway across the fucking world.
Let's meet in the middle.
And where would the middle be? Like
Texas.
I was going to say like Arizona. Either way. They went to Area 51. And they found the one standing arcade at an Area 51 rest stop. And
just knocked it out?
Yes, that's the way it should be.
How long ago was this?
1 year ago.
Okay, so this was before the raid of Area 51. So.
Yes. No. It was after. It was
after the raid.
So the folks from Hawaii is Ellimist. So I feel like it's Ellimist.
Yeah.
Ellimist. I mean, you could have a name Ellie and then like Mist.
Yeah.
Or it's Ellimist. No denying the Marylander.
Blue Crab Forever?
No, that would... For EVA. That would be the name right there. It's High Warlord JC.
Okay.
So, I don't know if that's Jesus Christ or John Christopher. I feel like it's Jesus Christ, you know.
Oh, wait, I forgot about Old Bay for Life, too.
Old Bay in my blood.
Yeah, Old Bay in my blood.
69. Old Bay with a 0 instead of an O.
Yeah.
Yes. So they completed this in roughly about the same time. Now, we'll give props. Super Nintendo was done in 15 minutes, 25 seconds. This one was faster. 14 minutes, 23 seconds.
Okay.
So, if you're good and you got 15 minutes to kill, you can hammer it on out here. Don't really know.
Yeah, I got no idea.
I think I probably mentioned in here, it wasn't a lot of information between the ports, so I know there was some stuff that was taken out and stuff that was probably put in, like Sunset Riders.
Yeah.
I do know when you get to the final boss, if you die, you get like this bad ending of shit going south, but if you beat the boss, then it's basically scurry through the jungle, hop on a plane, try to get the fuck out of there type
Yeah,
deal.
it's probably one of those old classic Congo pontoon planes too, with the big propellers that take off from the river.
And you gotta have some crazy motherfucker, the one driving it.
Yep.
And it never starts up on the first go.
Yeah,
you know?
gotta sit there. Dude's got a wrench out there hitting the control panels.
I'm thinking of that damn Indiana Jones. Is it Temple of Doom?
Yeah.
Where that happens. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking 18.
Okay, that too. All right. So we're gonna get into surprise charting, Joshua.
Okay.
So, what do you think, hypothetically, a loose cart of Operation Thunderbolt should be?
I'm going with like $9.
You're way low. I can tell you at its lowest part of how much it cost in late to mid, I'd say mid 2008 was the lowest.
Okay.
You could pick it up for $3.
Okay.
Which probably sounds about accurate.
That sounds about right.
When you said how much, $9?
9.
That is probably about where it was in 2010.
Okay, well, I'm not doing that stupid math that I done last week.
Yeah, you got to make your own math for this.
17?
You're still pretty low.
32.
Still pretty low.
I give up.
It has peaked in 2022 and came back down. In 2022, it got up to $109.
The fuck no.
Right now, it is on a $5 decrease, selling 2 a month for $85.
No. No.
No, like you don't agree, you don't accept this, or this
I don't
bullshit.
accept this.
Why? I don't know. That is why I've never played this game with my Super Scope, because I got a complete inbox fucking minty Super Scope that may have never been used, and I paid $20 for it. I'll be goddamned if I'm spending $85
to open it to play this.
Well, no, it's not sealed. The plastic's still in there.
I know,
just ain't got to pay $85 fucking dollars to try a Super Scope game with this. 85 even.
No.
Do you want to take a guess at what a complete copy of this goes for? I know this is bumfuzzled you. I laughed when I pulled it up. I was like, "Oh dear God, Josh gonna lose his shit."
$250.
Close enough. $299.95.
Okay.
It shows that 5 of these sell a year. So there's 5 fucking idiots out there. You know, I'd say that I would buy it if it was good price. I ain't buying it for $300.
Yeah.
I'd probably try to find a Pokemon Game Boy CIB game for that.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
Brand new. They show one of them selling a year.
7.
$960.
That's about. I should have went with the triple. I normally go with the triple.
And they've got a graded one on here at 1,056. That might have actually. I don't think that was. No, that was not the Spike. The Spike was at 109. The box, if you run into the box in a junk bin somewhere, you got it. The box itself selling for $67. A fucking manual for this. Now you're the one. You started laughing when you pulled up the cover of the game when we pulled it. And it does look pretty fucking. It looks like a Gary Kitchens battle tank.
Yeah.
You know? It doesn't look nothing special. A fucking manual for this thing's $50 damn $49.55.
Dear Jesus.
It's according to price charting. I believe him, but this would be a manual that I would imagine. I would think would be a $4.99 manual.
Yeah.
You know? But so at the end of the day, we're just gonna say this $85. Would you rather have $42.50?
Give me the damn money.
Or do you want this cartridge?
No,
Josh?
give me the money.
That is accurate.
Give me the fucking money.
I do not know why this game is $85 damn dollars.
No. Give me this money.
I've got the illness, but I will say, unless this is the last game that you have to buy for your Super Nintendo set, completing it, if you spend $85 on this game, you lost your damn mind.
Yeah. God, no.
I would have a tough time if this was complete in box and you try to sell it to me for $85. I don't know that I could pull the trigger on it. And I'm eat up with the illness.
Yeah, you are eat up with the illness. No, I don't think I could do that.
All right. Well, we're going to come in and rank this bitch, Josh. the last game of the season. So, let me pull up last week's list here. So, I don't know, I'm kind of looking back on the season, and we have some bangers. We probably had more bangers in a 10-game season this season than any other one. But we've had some really bad ones, too.
I think we're half and half, honestly. I think
separation anxiety is kind of like the okay one.
Yeah.
And then everything's really good or really bad. Like Radical Rex, I wasn't as bad on it as most, but it wasn't great. Brunswick sucked. Mighty Max sucked. Speed Racer sucked.
Yeah.
So let me just run down your list if you want to do the ranking first, Josh.
Sure.
You have Sunset Riders as your number one game, which I agree.
Yep.
You got Battle T's and Double D's as number 2.
Yep.
Axel A is number 3. Final Fight Guys 4. Venom, Spider-Man, Separation Anxiety 5. Brunswick World Bowling, Radical Rex, Speed Racer, number 9, Mighty Max.
Yep.
Where you got to put Operation Thunderbolt?
I'm going to put Operation Thunderbolt right in between Speed Racer and Radical Rex.
Okay, Speed Racer and Radical Rex.
Yep.
So you're saying Radical Rex is better, but Speed Racer is not?
Yeah.
Okay.
My defense is this. Speed Racer is absolutely terrible. They tried 2 different types. They done platforming and racing. They couldn't achieve either one of them. That was absolutely terrible.
I agree.
Radical Rex was at least a platformer that we knew what we were getting into. Even though for me it wasn't as fun because of the controls. The reason why I'm putting this in between it is I had a little bit more leeway, I guess, playing with my mouse, since it sort of turned it into more of an arcade, even though it was still a little... I don't want to say...
It's almost felt like a hanging.
Yeah, it felt more like a hanging. But, I mean, I could still move it and everything like that. So, I got more fun out of this one, but I don't want to put it above Radical Rex because this is by far one of the worst shooting galleries we've played besides the Untouchables.
The part of the Untouchables, the one stage. But you look at it, Untouchables had 3 or 4 game stages and they all sucked.
Yeah, they were all terrible.
Okay, I don't disagree with what you say, but I'm a little torn. I'm taking what you say, and then I've got in my mind, I don't know if you can sway me one way, or I sway you the other. Or we're just stubborn and stick with it.
Okay.
I got Sunset Riders as 1, Axel A is 2, Battle T's and Double D's is 3, Final Fight Guy 4, Separation Anxiety, Radical Rex, Brunswick, Mighty Max, Speed Racer. I agree. This game is better than I got Speed Racer at the very bottom, and I got Mighty Max. I do agree that Operation Thunderbolt, like you, is better than both of those games. Brunswick World, I didn't care for it at all. I think Thunderbolt is better than it. Probably not fair to Brunswick, but bowling Super Nintendo game doesn't tip the scale.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to Separation Anxiety is better than it, and it's between Radical Rex. What's better, Radical Rex or Operation Thunderbolt? And I agree that with your assessment that Radical Rex is probably a little bit better game, but at least Operation Thunderbolt is a quicker game.
Yeah.
So if I'm looking at them, I do think that Radical Rex is better as far as the design and everything of it, but I think that I have a better shot of beating Operation Thunderbolt. I think if I played Operation Thunderbolt for 6 hours, I would beat the game. I don't know that I'll ever beat Radical Rex. That game fucked me up pretty good on there. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a tip of the hat to Operation Thunderbolt and put it at number 6. Which is pretty generous for it.
That's very generous, I think.
But it's really because I feel like you can get in and out quick.
Yeah.
I don't know what's worse. I mean, I've tried to put myself in here. If I had to play Operation Thunderbolt for 6 hours, it would suck, but I could probably at least say I beat it. If I played Radical Rex for 6 hours, it'll suck, and I probably can't really say nothing about it that we haven't already, So,
that's true.
So we have wrapped up. I guess at the end of the day, this game does suck.
Yeah, it does.
Probably way cooler with an arcade gun, but the Super Nintendo port's a mess. I bet it is probably better on every other system but Super Nintendo. So
especially if all those other systems were arcade motherboard cabinet styles.
Yeah, and the Ataris, I don't know. You probably had the joystick. I don't know Atari ST. I never played one. I feel like there was a controller in that. I don't know if there was a mouse, but the Super Nintendo controller was not the optimal thing to use.
Yeah.
So we're wrapping up Season 5. That will be 60 games.
Yep.
So we've got 50 of them already ranked. Now, keep in mind, when we rank these, we're normally about dead-ass drunk when we start doing that.
That's true.
So that is why we call it a full re-rank, because I might not feel the way I did 10 weeks ago as I do now.
Yep.
So we're going to dump them in there. I always like the re-rank episodes. If you don't like it, the re-rank, then it's probably dreadful to listen to. But if you want to listen to some useless bullshit and carrying on, it's normally a good time. And I think we were normally, like, when we got to like 20 or 30 games, we were still doing it in an hour. Now that we're going to be dumping, we're going to be up to 60, I would imagine that we're probably going to be on about an hour and a half podcast, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Talk bullshit about all 60 games there. But you know what? That's what we're going to do.
And then we're flirting with the idea of, like, once it gets way out of hand, you know, are any of these within this ranking area for you? Okay, discuss why.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. So I guess, so we're going to end up, next week we're going to release the re-rank episode. You know, maybe we watch the movie and put a bonus episode in of Operation Thunderbolt. I don't want to commit us to that. But we're probably going to take a couple weeks off before we start Season 6.
I'm going to see if it's free on YouTube.
I would hope to God. What if the movie was $80 like the game?
No. Absolutely not.
So we're going to take a couple weeks off between seasons, like we normally do.
When did it come out?
I think it was like 77. I feel like that's what it is. That's sticking in my head. It came out in 1978. I don't know that you can watch it anywhere, Josh.
Well, okay, so I got Raid on Entebbe, 1977, Israelis Commandos action TV movie, made by Lionheart Film. Is that it?
Mine just Prime Video has Operation Thunderbolt. The video is currently unavailable in our location.
What does it look like?
It might not even be available, brother, because I think there was a little bit more religious shit into it. The theme of it says the cover of the movie, it looks like a hand coming down. But it says in July 1976, Air France flight from Tel Aviv to Paris was hijacked and forced to land in Uganda. Jewish passengers. So it might be, I don't know. It might not be available.
So it may be this one. Hang on. So it may be. See if it went by the name of Raid on. Raid on Entebbe. Because if it is, then it's that movie right there. It's about 2 hours long.
I don't know. It does look like it was released on Betamax and such like that. So, I don't know. We might have to work to get onto that one. Victory at Entebbe, you said?
Raid at Entebbe.
That is probably it. Or maybe that's another one, because it looks like there's a DVD that's called Victory at Entebbe. So, or Entebbe.
Yeah, it's also called Entebbe Operation.
So there's probably, I'm going to guess, a plane getting hijacked with the Jewish pastors probably made quite a bit of headline news in the 70s. So there's probably several enactments of it. But either way, we're going to come back a couple of weeks. Well, you're going to get next week, you're going to get our ranking. We'll get another review going in a couple. Josh, do you want to make any predictions for our next game or season 6 as a whole?
I'm thinking that it's going to be a little different.
Okay.
I think we're going to start off very, very strong.
Very strong. Okay, we can handle that. Strong's good.
I'm thinking like a solid high-tier third-party game.
What do you mean by high tier third party?
Like another Konami, like a Contra, or...
Okay. You mean first... Well, I guess it is second or third party.
Yeah, it's like I said, Nintendo would be first party. But
so you're just going to say, we can maybe say,
like a
not a Nintendo license, but a top 100 game?
Yeah, like a Donkey Kong, like something made by Rare, something made by Konami, Capcom, something along those lines.
So I'm just going to put in here a top 100 game that's not Nintendo license, or not Nintendo itself. I'm going to think we're going to get a fighting game.
Okay.
I don't know if it's Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct. God, I almost wish we'd draw that damn game I was telling you that might be worse than Untouchables. That would be a fun start to the season. But either way, like I say, you kind of got the schedule, the gist of what we've got going on. We'll talk more about it in the ranking episode that you get next week. And I guess we'll pick you up in a couple more weeks on Season 6.
Yeah.